In today's fast food era of music, many once promising artists fall short of the superstar status they seem destined for. In this video, we'll look at 8 artists that were supposed to blow up in the 2020s but didn't. Madison Beer. Madison Beer's journey into pop spotlight began with a lot of hype, discovered by Justin Bieber in 2012. After he tweeted her cover of Etta James's At Last, she quickly signed to Island Records. She was called the next teen pop superstar early, following in the footsteps of Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande. But delays prolonged her rise. Around that time, she was featured on the UK top 10 hit All Day All Night by Kodak Jones. Her debut EP As She Pleases was released in 2018, and it had modest hits like Home With You, which made her the first independent female solo artist to chart on the US radio chart in over 2 decades. Despite these moments, she never managed to break through. In 2019, she signed with Epic Records, and her first full-length debut album Life Support was released in 2021. Songs like Selfish and Good and Goodbye showed her growth as an artist. However, the album peaked at a modest number 65 on the Billboard 200, underwhelming considering her industry backing and social media presence. She has like 40 million Instagram followers. The album failed to launch a defining hit, and she was struggling to find her audience. Her follow-up album Silence Between Songs was released in 2023. It debuted lower than her debut, peaking at number 86 on the Billboard 200. Her music videos always do well, and she is very popular on every platform on social media, but for some reason, her music doesn't connect. Her biggest recent semi-hit came back in 2024 with Make You Mine, which peaked at number 50 in the UK. As of 2025, she's still searching for the breakout hit to match the star power she once expected to have by now. Rena Sawyama. Rena Sawyama entered the 2020s as a critical darling, with excellent music and the charisma of a global superstar. Born in Japan and raised in the UK, she built a cult following with her 2017 self-released Rena EP, a glitchy blend of early 2000s pop and futuristic alternative R&B. She gained a lot of attention from many publications, anointing her the next pop star. Her 2020 debut album Sawyama received widespread critical acclaim, scoring 89 out of 100 on Metacritic. Pitchfork, Rolling Stone, and NME named the album one of the best of the year. Elton John and Lady Gaga co-signed her, and it seemed like she was destined to become the next superstar. But despite the buzz, the album peaked at just number 80 on the UK albums chart and didn't chart on the Billboard 200 at all. Rena's sound is bold and ambitious. The songs like XX and STFU got a lot of attention in the underground, but they weren't playlisted or achieved viral status. Her fan base grew organically through social media, but the broader public didn't discover her. She got a lot of attention when she was featured on Charli XCX's song Begford, which was a hit in the UK, peaking at number 22. Her second album, Hold the Girl, in 2022, aimed for a bigger, more emotional sound, with singles like This Hell. It debuted at number 3 on the UK albums chart, her highest placement yet, but still failed to produce a charting single. Despite sold-out international tours, fashion collaborations, and a role on John Wick, Rena has yet to find the commercial hit that would blow her up. Her artistry is evident, and she remains an underground icon, a star on paper, but not on the charts. Bead Doobie. When Bead Doobie started her rise in the late 2010s, she was positioned as the new Gen Z alt-rock star. Signed to Dirty Hit Records, her first ever song, the lo-fi bedroom demo Coffee, blew up online and was famously sampled on Powerful's massive 2020 TikTok hit, Deathbed Coffee for Your Head, which now has over 1.8 billion Spotify streams. That unexpected spotlight brought her a global audience, leading many to predict she'd be a breakout indie rock artist of the decade. Publications like NME and Pitchfork praised her sound, while industry insiders pushed her as the next superstar of the TikTok era. In 2020, she released her debut album Fake It Flowers to strong critical acclaim. The album blended Y2K nostalgia with her unique sound. However, while it resonated with a niche audience, it never broke into the mainstream. The album peaked at number 8 in the UK and failed to chart on the US Billboard 200. Her next releases like Beatopia in 2022 featured more polished production, but none of the singles made a significant impact. Despite opening for Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour and joining the 1975 On the Road, Bead Doobie has struggled to convert that into a major commercial moment. Her aesthetic and sound deeply resonate with a loyal fan base, particularly in the UK, but the global breakout she was meant to have never fully materialized. She's still seen as a beloved artist, but she has not had her breakout moment yet. Benny, the New Zealand alt-pop singer, appeared destined for global domination in 2020 after a string of quirky and catchy indie pop singles like Glitter and Soaked. She skyrocketed to fame with the viral hit Super Lonely featuring Gus Dapperton, thanks to a TikTok dance trend and the relatable theme of pandemic loneliness. Super Lonely became one of the biggest songs of lockdown, peaking at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and accumulating more than 700 million streams on Spotify. She was included on high-tier festival lineups, and her record label invested heavily in promoting her globally. However, Benny's momentum faltered quickly. Her debut album Hey You X in 2020 arrived just months after Super Lonely, but failed to deliver any more hits. While the album included collaborations with Grimes and Lily Allen, it peaked modestly on number 138 on the Billboard 200, which was disappointing. The project didn't gain any traction, and without a strong follow-up single, she struggled to maintain her presence. TikTok had moved on. Since then, Benny has continued releasing music, including the EP Lychee in 2022, which received moderate praise, but only managed to chart in New Zealand. She has yet to shake off the perception of her as a one-hit wonder, and in retrospect, she may be one of the clear examples of how TikTok virality doesn't always equate to a long-term career, as she has not reached the heights many expected from her back in 2020. Khloe. When Khloe Bailey, half of the Grammy-nominated sister duo Khloe and Halle, announced her solo debut, many expected her to take off. After years of mentorship from Beyoncé and her Parkwood label, she seemed destined for superstardom. Her debut single Have Mercy came in 2021, and it was a real moment, going viral on TikTok and showcasing her charisma and vocals. The song debuted on number 28 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was impressive, and earned her performances at the VMAs and The Tonight Show. She was positioned as next in line for that pop and R&B lane. However, the rollout for her debut album In Pieces quickly unraveled. Next singles like Treat Me, which peaked at number 81, and Surprise and For the Night, which failed to chart on the Billboard Hot 100, underperformed on streaming platforms, causing confusion over the album's direction. Despite Khloe's talent, the music often felt like she was chasing trends rather than setting them. When In Pieces finally dropped in 2023, debuted on number 119 on the Billboard 200, selling just 10,000 copies in its first week, a big commercial disappointment given all the hype. She then followed it up with her 2024 album Trouble in Paradise, which did even worse, not even charting on the Billboard 200. Khloe's underperformance is partly because of branding. Some fans felt her team misread her core audience by over-sexualizing her image rather than emphasizing her vocal talent. Her journey isn't over, but her solo career has been disappointing so far. Gail came out the gates and looked destined to be a breakout star. She started writing music at the age of 10, and by her mid-teens, she got signed to an independent label. Gail's rise to fame was meteoric, thanks to her 2021 single ABCDFU, a breakup anthem that quickly caught fire on TikTok and went viral. It became a huge hit, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, was certified multi-platinum, and was nominated for Song of the Year at the 2023 Grammys, a big achievement for a new artist. However, the success of the song proved difficult to replicate. While the viral hook resonated during a pandemic-era online boom, her follow-up singles failed to recapture public attention. Gail released her debut EP A Study of Human Experience Volume 1 in 2022, followed by Volume 2 later that year. None of the new songs charted on the Hot 100, even though they had decent streaming numbers. Even with high-profile tours and a well-funded promotional push from her label, Gail struggled to escape the dreaded one-hit wonder label. Industry insiders began to question if her early success was more a product of TikTok virality than sustained artistry. While she is still in her early 20s, it has now been 4 years since her breakout hit, and time is running out on her 15 seconds. Renee Rap. Renee Rap came into the spotlight when she played Regina George in Mean Girls, the musical on Broadway. With a rising online fan base, her transition into music seemed inevitable, and she was destined for superstardom. Signed to Interscope Records, her 2022 debut EP Everything to Everyone was full of soaring ballads that positioned her as a new voice of Gen Z. Her full-length debut album Snow Angel, released in August 2023, received strong reviews and debuted at number 44 on the Billboard 200, a respectable but underwhelming result given her buzz and star potential. Snow Angel reflected her strength, but also exposed the challenges of carving out a space in a crowded pop landscape. Despite a passionate fan base and extensive media coverage, no song from the album became a major hit. She lacked that song to catapult her into household name territory. Balancing acting and music is hard, and it requires careful timing, something her team struggled to maintain. While her authenticity and unhinged interviews earned her loyal supporters, it hasn't translated into commercial dominance. Her latest single, Leave Me Alone, was released earlier this year and peaked at number 69 in the UK. It is the lead single for her upcoming album Bite Me. Her career remains full of potential, and we'll see if her next era will propel her to superstardom. Coco Jones. Coco Jones began her career in the spotlight at a young age. She was a standout performer on the Disney Channel, starring in the 2012 film Let It Shine, to showcase her dynamic voice and charisma. Following that early exposure, she faced creative control issues and lack of support from the label. Her early music releases underperformed, and her career momentum slowed drastically. By 2015, her contract ended, and she entered a long period of reinvention, trying to regain control of her identity. In the 2020s, Coco began to stage a well-earned comeback. She gained visibility again because of her role as Hilary Banks in Bel-Air, a reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which premiered in 2022 and gave her a big platform. This revival was paired with a return to music. She signed with Def Jam and released the EP What I Didn't Tell You in 2022. It featured the viral single I See You, which peaked at number 62 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned her a BET Award for Best New Artist in 2023, suggesting that a full-blown mainstream moment might just be a matter of time. However, the single she released after that failed to capture interest. Her debut full-length project Why Not More was delayed and finally came out in April 2025. It debuted at number 59 on the Billboard 200, moving just 15,000 units in its first week, which was disappointing. While her talent is undeniable and her personality magnetic,
hi guys, so yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check.
She hasn't fully lived up to her potential. I hope she gets her breakthrough single soon. Which artists that were supposed to blow up in the 2020s did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.